Alright guys, welcome to another video on the channel, man. So the last UFC event of 2022 just happened this past weekend. Let's get to it, man. Let's just cover this whole thing. So honestly, overall, pretty decent card. I'm gonna just start off with this Drew Dober, Bobby Green fight. Literally the whole first round and even most of the second round, I was like, yo, Bobby Green got this easy. He was just in there, hands down, just talking shit, and just kept hitting Drew with the 1-2, sometimes like a 1-2-3, but basically kept hitting him in the chin, body, everything. Drew Dober's chin is honestly like, it's the craziest thing ever. Drew Dober's chin might be made out of vibranium, no cap. Like, bro, just look at this. Bobby Green, he threw 73 significant strikes compared to 34 for Drew Dober, and Bobby Green got knocked the fuck out. Like, literally all Drew Dober had to do was take all of his punches and then hit him with one good left hook, just laid him out. Like, this fight was absolutely insane. Go back, you can definitely watch it. I love watching Bobby Green strike just because the way he moves is so unorthodox. He literally fights with his hands down and just moves. and honestly, most of the fight, literally until the point he got laid out, he was winning the fight 100%. But Drew Dober, absolute beast. Like I said, dude's got all the power in the world. Hit him with one like really solid left hook right on the button. Laid him out. It was insane. Next, Alex Caceres versus Julian Erosa. This fight was also crazy. Mostly the knockout was insane. Like, bro, Dom Cruz called it perfectly. It was like, watch the back leg, backhand, and then boom. Bro. Crazy shit. Like, bro, just the way he just leans, he just threw his leg up, got him right on the button. Go check out his post-fight interview with Paul Fellier. That was super cool. He's kind of alluding to what GSP says a lot, where in the fight he was so scared, he was terrified, but he just goes zen. It's super cool to watch. Alex Caceres, just his post-fight interview, the way he fights, I'm definitely a huge fan, and I'm gonna definitely tune in to all of his fights. Next, I'm gonna get to the last two. Arman Tsarukyan, dude, this guy's an absolute beast, man. His debut in the UFC was against Islam, which obviously aged incredibly. Then he's also fought Matt Frivola, again a fighter that's aged really well. Dude's still a monster, and Tsarukyan actually beat him. Then this Gamrot fight is one of the greatest fights I've ever seen when it comes to MMA grappling. This fight is incredible. So I think Gamrot, again, just a different beast. And then even this fight against Ismagulov, he was supposed to be ridiculous. I mean, he was supposed to be ridiculous, still is incredibly ridiculous. Like, even in this fight, the takedown defense that Damir showed, every time Arman would try to take him down, he would just get right back up. Like, every single time I was like, oh, this fight's actually over, he's gonna choke him out or do something. Damir would somehow just find a way to get up and get Arman off of him, and just I have no idea how he did that shit. But that being said, the way Tsarukyan just mixed up his takedowns, he would do a bunch of different trips. I think he did a few single leg, a few double leg. Like, he would just switch up the way he took him down. It was super cool to see. Dude's an absolute beast, and he's literally just fighting a bunch of killers. Like, the UFC definitely is not making it easy for him at all. He just goes out there, killer after killer, takes him out, or at least puts up a good fight. So shout out to Mr. Tsarukyan. Now, finally, the last fight of the whole year, Jared Cannonier versus Sean Strickland. Honestly, I was hoping for this fight to be so much better. It almost seemed like they were both playing it super safe. I think Sean Strickland at a few points had incredible boxing combinations, but then he would just let up, and then Jared Cannonier was just looking for the counter the whole time. And so what ended up happening was they were both trying to look for their opportunities. No one really took a great opportunity. I also saw that a bunch of people on Twitter were unhappy with the judging on this fight, which has unfortunately been a regular for a lot of UFC fights. And honestly, even in my personal opinion, I think it was a much closer fight than what the judges made it seem. I still had Jared winning, but it was definitely a lot closer, I think. But still, it was one of those, if you didn't watch it, you didn't really miss out on anything. If I'm being completely honest, it was pretty boring. That is the last card of 2022. And now the first card of 2023 is going to be Imavov versus Kelvin Gastelum. This is a fight I'm definitely looking forward to. But before we get to that, And honestly, before we wrap this video up, let's jump on UFC Reddit real quick, see what they're talking about for the end of 2022. So Paulo Costa versus Robert Whittaker is not happening anymore. And Paulo Costa pulled out basically because he was like, yo, I'm not getting paid what I deserve. And honestly, this dude said it the best, where Paulo Costa, I think he was even getting paid 60-60, not even 70-70, or like 65-65, which is basically nothing. And for those of you guys who don't really understand what 70-70 means, basically you get 70K to show up and another 70K if you win. And that's honestly bullshit. Like, Paulo Costa is one of the biggest UFC stars on the planet currently, and for him to only make 140,000 after a win, like that's nothing for like an athlete, like a superstar level athlete. Like, that's crazy. I think a good analogy for this would be like who's like a decent all-star. I think a decent comparison for this would be someone like, I'd say like a Kyle Lowry, where he's not a superstar, but he's definitely like all-star. He's well known. All like NBA fans somewhat know him. Now imagine if he only got 140 for like, say he only made like 140,000 for like half the season. Like, that would legit be nothing. That's basically what the pay is for Paulo Costa, which absolutely sucks. And yeah, man, this is honestly also a great comment where dude's like, yo, Paulo technically never signed the contract, never signed the deal. So honestly, it is on UFC for pushing this fight when they didn't even have like confirmation that the fighters were actually fighting the fight. So yeah, man, shout out Paulo Costa. I think he's doing the smart thing of pulling out, because everyone wants to see this fight. He's still a top contender, but definitely get your bread, get your money up. I'm always in support of that. So yeah, man, shout out Paulo Costa. Dude, so Drew Dober tweeted this out. I actually did see this tweet. Basically, he was implying he wants that fight against Michael Chandler. It'll be a stupid lit fight. They both just throw. They both have incredible chins. I 100% see one of them getting knocked out for sure. And honestly, it will just be a lit fight. Every single fight Drew Dober is in is always entertaining. Every fight Michael Chandler is in, always entertaining. So it definitely will be a great fight. I just think Michael Chandler is probably gonna be facing like higher competition. Not to say Drew Dober is not high competition, but I think the UFC is going to pair Drew Dober with another just up and comer and not really give him a top 5 fighter already. Like, there's no way he's good enough to fight a top 5 guy like Michael Chandler. So I'm sure maybe after like a fight or two, we could totally see the Drew Dober versus Michael Chandler fight, which would still be great. I would definitely love for there to be a Drew Dober versus Michael Chandler fight. I just don't see us having that I just don't see the UFC making that fight until Drew Dober gets another few wins under his belt. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. Quick little UFC Reddit, last UFC event of 2022. Looking forward to all the great events planned for 2023, man. And with that, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out all the links in the bio. At least it's something I do, at least it's some of my socials, all that good shit. And with that, I'm out of here. Peace.